our teams and stuff like that. So, it went from there. And then when I started She's So Fab, I was kind of, doing some venue searches, and I was like, I think I could do this for a living, like for one of our events. I'm like, I like this. And, I kind of started tapping back into it, and I started to realize like events have just been in my life constantly. I'm always winding back up in this space. So, I said goodbye to like any other initiative that I thought I was going to do, acting, all you name it. I've done some PR at the start of my career as well. So, I studied marketing, I studied communication. So everything just kind of aligned itself, and, did a lot of social events, and then from there stemmed into corporate. And I think corporate was really the space where I just was able to, navigate the event world, but also gain a lot of my own skills, and able to, build on that expertise and get a lot of experience, doing events here in Canada, but also in the US, which was exciting for me.
Yes.
In my career journey. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, but here I am, and now we're kind of navigating this virtual space a little bit more than we did before. So yeah, super excited. It's been a really interesting journey. And I think that's the thing with a lot of people that I talk to who's been doing events, it's one of those things. A lot of us never really said, okay, we're going to do events, but, it kind of just happens. And if you love it, you love it. That's the catchy thing about events. If you like doing it and you like the challenge, then it's you. If you don't love it, then you're just going to kind of throw in the towel really early.
You raise an interesting point about the people in this industry, and they love it. During the past couple of years, I think we were all given the opportunity, or we were all tempted to leave our industry given what's happened. But so many people have stayed, and it is because we love it. It certainly isn't because of the money. None of us made a ton of money in the last couple of years, but we stayed because we love the work and we love the community. And you're definitely one of the strongest community members in this industry for sure. And I do want to talk about what you're doing now, but if you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit about She's So Fab? I'm quite intrigued by the concept, and I'd love to know like if it's still going, if we can still get involved. Like, tell us a little bit about that initiative.
Yeah, so She's So Fab, and I'm talking about it, it's like one of my other babies, but it's no longer existing. However, I did start it when I was I think kind of fresh out of university. It was really a space to just welcome women from every avenue of all sorts. It was just really a space where we could celebrate each other. And, as women, we go through so many things. And oftentimes the things that we go through, we really think that it's only, we're isolated. We feel like we're the only one that is going through a certain situation. But, as I grew up, the more I realized is that as women, we go through these things and we're not alone. A lot of the time we may look different, but we share so many common situations. And but a lot of the times we don't talk about it. I think in this day and age we talk about it a little bit more, but at that time it just wasn't. There are certain things we just didn't talk about a lot, and I thought it'd be great to just have a space where we could all come together, be celebrated, and feel safe in those conversations. So started it as a blog, and then we did some events for women, did some really fun campaigns. I ran a campaign where I think I hosted like 25 women from, different age groups, different industries, different, cultures, you name it. And we all came together and just celebrated us, which was awesome. So, I think as I started to get more into my own career, when I, started to jump into events, it kind of started to distract me from that initiative. But, empowering women and celebrating women has always been one of my passions. And even in high school, I started like a girls group where girls could come and talk. So I think that it's always kind of been ingrained in me, I guess. So,
Yeah.
that will always have a special place in my heart. And there's been many times where I thought, okay, do I want to revive this? But,
Mm.
I think, in life, we kind of have to continue going with our calling and in our journey. And here I am now, leading Black in events. And, it's just kind of an extension of my passion of giving back to communities and, helping others.
Well, and that's the thing, Keneisha. No one's going to blame you for being lazy, because you certainly are still giving, giving, giving. And you're still, if there's a word to describe you in just listening to you now, it is empowerment, and it is safety, because now you've created this new community that empowers another group of people and provides them with another safe place to come together and talk. So tell us about the beginnings of Black in Events, and kind of take us through the journey. Like, where are you at now?
Absolutely. So Black in Events, we started it early in 2020, before the pandemic, before a lot of discussions on racism started to be brought up a little bit more heavier in the event space. And at the time, I started, the discussion with Ashanti Bentiel, who is from the UK, and we kind of had the discussion of, there should be a space celebrated where, Black professionals can kind of come together, because oftentimes we don't see a lot of Black professionals in the event space, whether that's in associations, whether that's at award shows. We're not very represented. And there's so many different layers and reasons why that happens. But at the time, it was just feeling like, there needs to be a space where we can kind of come together, find each other, but also where the events industry can find us as well. So from there, I kind of took ownership of the company, and kind of took it to a different space and a different level, so that our industry can kind of see that we're here, and not have the excuse anymore that, well, we don't know where to find Black professionals working in events, and kind of break that narrative, but also celebrate us. And the one unique thing about the network is that it's such an inclusive network. So while we are still here to represent and amplify Black professionals, we still are welcoming everybody into that space, because in order to get that message across, we have to do this together. We can't sit in a silo or in our room by ourselves as Black professionals trying to amplify. That's just not going to work that way. We have to have the support of the events industry, kind of rallying and saying, yeah, we need change. And here are Black professionals who are working in the industry, and let's support them, And so, that's what Black in Events is about. The network is really a community, but it's a community that has so many differences. And one thing that I like to be clear is, like, when we talk about Black professionals, it's not a one layer. There's so many differences to that. And as a Black woman, I'm a Black woman, but I'm also a woman. There's Black men. There are queer Black professionsionals as well. Right. So the umbrella is huge, and I don't like to just narrow it down to just this and just that, because the umbrella is huge. And I think we all still need a space where we can be represented and feel safe and feel included, and feel seen in the industry.
And I love what you said about feeling safe. You're right. I think regardless of any labels that we put on ourselves or that we project onto other people. We're all just longing for that safe place. And Black in Events is definitely one of those safe places. Now, you raised an interesting question, because I want to dive into this. You mentioned that Black in Events has space and room for supporters, like white professionals as well. So how do white professionals or professionals of other ethnicities become a supporter and part of the Black in Events community?
Yeah. And that's a great question. And I'm so glad you raised that. There's so many different ways, and we're still in the midst of just kind of ironing out finer details. But, one way is to, just be part of the community. We're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, and just kind of, we share content, and resharing it to your peers and letting them know that we're here. I know that, so there's so many people that have, sent out emails to me saying, hey, there's these job offers, I want to share it with your network. And it's those little ways to kind of support our network. A great thing about us is, like, we're not limited to one geographical area. I'm in Canada, but we have a huge demographic in the US. We have a huge demographic in the UK, Africa. Like, we're kind of expanding, which is the beautiful thing. But there's so many those ways to just kind of support us and say, hey, how can we amplify you? And those are some simple ways right now. We are working on, different ways for the industry to kind of support the initiative of what we're doing. And that's something to look forward to in the next couple of weeks that we're going to start releasing.
Well, and I don't want you to have to spill the beans ahead of time, but you're right. What are the goals, the immediate goals of the network?
Yeah. Right now we want to definitely grow the network, just the community, and have more relationship with our community, and understand what the needs are, a little bit more deeper, so that we can start reaching out to other organizations and partnering and collaborating on ways to support Black professionals in the industry, in terms of their career or education. And there's so many different ways that organizations can absolutely support those initiatives. So I think it's just, for us, it's just supporting us right now. That's one of the big things, and expanding the community as much as we can, but also getting meeting organizations that are looking, who have taken these pledges to say, what, they want to create changes in Black communities or BIPOC communities. Those are the organizations we really want to talk to and have conversations with, to see how we can kind of help them take that next step, because we have the community, so that they can support.
And that, I think that's what, at least it trips me up, and I don't know if it trips up anyone else, but it's the how, because there's value in the mission, and there's clarity in what it is, the end goal is, but how do we get there? What are a couple of things that an organization can do to get there? And then if you could follow that up with a couple things that I can do, aside from sending different opportunities for social media. So organizations and individuals, how can we further your cause and get you closer towards your goals?
Absolutely. Thank you. I always say that one of the first things is really being honest with yourself. And I know that sounds so simple, but it's really simple. Like, what does my team look like? Is my team diverse? And what's my advertising like? Is my advertising diverse? Are my suppliers diverse? Does everyone look like me? These are the ways that we can start, we reflect first and do these audits on ourselves also, but also on our business. And I've found that a lot of times, more often than none, people are like, well, yeah, I did this audit and I realized, okay, I'm not such a diverse business, and here I am trying to support communities. But, internally, the people that I turn to when it comes to our suppliers, it's always the same people that I'm turning to. Are there other people that I can support? and these are simple ways of starting. And if I think one thing too that is challenging to a lot of people that aren't part of like a BIPOC community is having that conversation. And oftentimes if you kind of talk to somebody in your network, meet somebody new, how can we support you, what are you doing? And you know those are ways that you can start just self-auditing.
Okay.
It goes for organizations, it goes for individuals. Start internally, and then kind of you'll slowly start to trickle outwards. Get training. There's a lot of
Okay.
companies right now. There's a lot of people who train, organizations, train individuals on, understanding their biases and how can they be more diverse in their workforce, and how can they ensure that the people that are on their teams, even if they are diverse, are being treated, being included, and also being equitable at the same time, right? So, it starts small, but I find that, those small steps go a long way. And it's kind of like it's learning how to walk almost. You're not going to get it right the first time, but it takes work. And one thing that you'll hear me say this on every platform that I talk about this, it's a journey. It's not gonna, if you start today or you start next week, it's not going to automatically change things overnight. It might not even change automatically in a year, but it's just a dedication to just starting the journey to wanting to make that change.
Well, and I like that, moving it from being a judgment-based audit, where I could see I do that on myself, and all of a sudden I have all those judgments about things that I've done wrong or things that I have failed to do, but move it towards, okay, this is the first step of a journey. And the first step might look super, super ugly, but there is a journey ahead of me, and it's only bound to get better as I move along it. So I think that helps me. Thank you, Keneisha, because you're right. I think doing a self-audit, I would automatically go to that dark place that I'm not doing enough, I don't know enough, and I'm not advocating enough. But instead of using that as a negative, maybe use that as, this is where I can improve, this is where I can learn, this is where I can listen, this is where I can invite more discussion and community and dialogue. And like you said, it's a journey. I love that. That's almost completely changed how I view my journey in this area. So thank you for that. So as far as, is it just you running Black in Events, or do you have a support system?
Well, I do have a very, very small team right now. Hoping to grow that, as the months come by. But I do have a small team right now, and very dedicated individuals to just wanting to ensure that Black in Events strives and hits the nail on where it can go. All of us is very dedicated to what it means to us, and just amplifying difference and embracing that. And we want to see more of that. We are all passionate about, the events industry and, our work towards it. And, I'm so passionate about just this project. I said to someone in a jokingly way, I said, I'm ready to, throw in the towel on events if I need to, just to focus, full time on Black in Events and ensuring that, the message and the vision goes where it needs to go.
Oh, and that was my next question, is how are you finding time to do it all? But I think you answered it. It sounds like you're not finding enough time to do all of the things that you're passionate about. And so you're focusing on this one passion for now, and hopefully finding room to explore your other passions in the future. So are you planning any events right now?
For personally, yes. My client base and stuff like that. But for Black in Events, we definitely have a lot in store when it comes to events. And that's something I'm looking forward to sharing again in the next couple of weeks. But, between this year and last year, I think Black in Events hosted at least wow, maybe 40 types of events in some way.
Wow.
Yeah, we've done a lot of different experiences. And, I think with that, we're just going to keep growing.
Well, and here's to finding you some support as well so that it can keep growing.
Thank you.
So, Keneisha, for people that want to learn about Blacken events, you mentioned LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter are the top 3 places. Did I miss any in that?
You did not. So Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can email me, miss.keneisha at gmail, miss.keneisha.williams@gmail.com.
Okay.
And get in touch with me there. But yeah, those are our main places. We're usually very active on Instagram. We've been a little bit quiet lately, but we're going to start talking a little bit more on there again.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you've got lots to share, so we're going to watch for that. I'm just going to add this banner with your email address.
Oh,
Hopefully,
yeah, exciting.
I'm not there. It is. Hopefully, I spelled it right. You can tell me if I spelled it.
You got it right.
Yes. Oh, good. Oh, good. Now, yeah. So, Keneisha, that was my next question: is where can people learn more about you besides giving you an email? Are there any preferred platforms that you like to hang out on?
Oh, I am always hanging out on Twitter.
Okay.
So you can find me there. Shout out to Julius Solaris, who always points that out. He says, Keneisha's very active on Twitter, which I am. If I'm quiet, it's because I'm like really busy. But I try to kind of pop in there when I can and share. I don't get too serious on Twitter, but I like to share, my thoughts and stuff on there. But I'm also on LinkedIn. And I'm also, you can email me. I am on Instagram, get K-Will, but I'm not on there as often. And I do have a website, which is www.keneisha.co, which is
okay. I'm going to create another banner here. Keneisha.co. Hopefully, I did that one right. Let's see if I did. Dun, 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 and show. There we go.
There we go.
Oh, what a great website. Wow. I wish my website looked as fancy as that one. This is, this conversation was long overdue. And I think if we had the conversation 6 months ago, it actually would have looked different than it does today. And if you and I connect in a year from now, it's going to look different yet again. So yes, I'm asking you, Keneisha, if you can come back in a year from now and update us, because I think it sounds like this is the season for you guys, and you're finally starting to see some momentum and some support. You've got Julius as a supporter. You can always count on me as a supporter as well. And I'm going to look at ways that I can get more intentional about being part of your community. You're just such a joy and such a light. And again, that word empowerment always comes to mind. And we all need to surround ourselves with people who are empowering and provide safety. And you do that for so many people, and myself included. So no, thank you. Thank you. Your work does not go unnoticed. So those days when you feel like it is, you need to know it's not going unnoticed. People are watching, people are learning, people are listening. So please continue to shine your light and share your voice. We need it.
I appreciate that, Leanne.
We need it. No problem. You're welcome. And thank you everyone who watched today. And if you're watching this on replay and you have questions for Keneisha, either about the work that she's doing or of course about Blacken Events Network, continue to drop them in the chat, because I'm going to be monitoring the chat in the weeks ahead for any comments that come in. And we want to make sure that we get answers to you about how you can get involved with Blacken Events. So continue dropping your questions, or as Keneisha mentioned, you can drop her an email as well at ms.keneisha.williams@gmail.com. Keneisha, do you have any parting thoughts that you'd like to leave with us today?
Oh my, you know what? I think just on overall for me, I would just like to say to everyone, keep being your best self and striving for your personal best, while, you know, supporting the needs of others around you. You know, I know that we're still kind of in this COVID situation, but you know, continue just supporting each other. There are people that need you right now, and you may not even know it. So yeah, just keep being your best self.
Well, and the same goes to you, because people need you. So keep
Thank you.
shining, Keneisha.
I
So
appreciate it.
thank you everyone for watching. Please take Keneisha's advice. Visit Black and Events Network on the social. Be your best self, and we will see you next week, but a couple hours earlier next week, because our guest comes to us all the way from Europe. So we are connecting with her in her evening hours. It'll be 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, which is 8 p.m. for my guest, Miret Padovani, who is with the Hospitality Network, and she also runs an incredible room on Clubhouse. So we're going to talk about how she manages to keep all of her branding efforts aligned with her hotel position. So we'll see you next week. Thank you again to Keneisha. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you. Bye for now.